When we were in school, we studied so hard to pass our examinations because we thought that degree, that number, that grade at the end of the year or at the end of the program might determine what we eat, what we drink, who we have as friends, who we marry, who we settle down with, what we can earn, where we can work, where we can live for the rest of our lives. Strangely, they didn't. But something else does. Something else determines what we eat, what we drink, what we can wear, who we can work with, who can be our friends, what people do to us, and what we can do to others. How we can experience life, where we live, whether we sleep tonight peacefully or with troubled minds. Our feeling does. What we score with our feelings determines what we score in life. As a child growing up, my mother used to say to me, we can never cheat nature. But I would like to add a little correction to that. It's not nature we can't cheat. It's our imagination we can't cheat. It's our feelings we can't cheat. We must learn to operate with it, to master it, because what we score on the grade of mastery, which means the practical applications of the essential laws of our consciousness, what we score on that mastery with feeling determines what we score in life. Now, I want you to understand that we live in a world of imagination. It is not by power, not by might, that we achieve the things that we achieve. If it were, then every person who goes into an industry because they see other people in that industry becoming successful should be successful. Or every person who tries to have connections with certain people because they see other people having those connections becoming prosperous should be prosperous. Every person who comes from a certain religion should be great because they see all the people who have that same religion. Or every person of a certain color should be successful, great, happy, or fulfilled in life. But this is not the case. Regardless of where you go, or regardless of the kind of people you meet, you always find the successful ones and the ones who are not so successful. And it is not random chance that is determining the scores. It's because we live in a world of imagination. While some have learned to operate that consciously, some are still asleep. But I want you to take a personal challenge for yourself that you no longer sleep, not on your life, not on your own watch over your life would you fall asleep. It is by the Spirit that we can realize our goals. It is by the Spirit that we can determine what happens in our lives. And Spirit acts by feeling. I want you to understand that you have the kingdom of heaven within you. Jesus was asked about it. And he said, don't believe when people say the kingdom of heaven is here or there. It's not in any physical place that we can observe. He said it doesn't come by observation either. So we can't see it with our eyes, we can't hear it with our ears, we can't touch it with our hands, because those are ways we observe things. So it doesn't come by observation because the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of God is within. And there are three keys to that kingdom. Desire. You must have a goal, a desire, something you truly want, something you want so much that you would no longer fall asleep on the watch of your life because you really want it. You stay awake. The second is imagination. To actually imagine that wish fulfilled. To imagine something that implies you now have that goal. And the third is attention. These are the three keys to the kingdom of heaven. Back in school, you have all those modules and aspects that you study of a particular course, and you have to master them both in theory and in practice, so that when the time comes for grading you, you could do fairly well, maybe excellent, and then you would be rewarded for your diligence. When it comes to daily life, these three keys are the three that we must master if we want life to reward us with the results that we want. And those who operate this, they open the kingdom of heaven to discover a secret that not so many people know, not even those who go by these theories of consciousness, the theories of metaphysics. I was discussing with someone recently, and they said to me, I know that time is an illusion, and I said, hold on a moment. Why do you say time is an illusion? That is certainly not in my teachings, and that is certainly not in the teachings of the masters of assumptions. Those who know how the law of assumption works do not tell you time is an illusion, because time can be reversed. It's a thing, it's a state. And as a state, as a thing, it can be dealt with, it can be manipulated, it can be worked by. It is flexible. And this is one of the secrets you find in the kingdom of heaven. That rather than living a life that seems to tick tock, following from the sequence of your past events, you begin to live a life that follows from the events of your desires. We call them bridge of incidents. They begin to happen, a series of events, one following on another, leading you to the fulfillment of your desire. And you couldn't even have consciously constructed them. Why? Because the time sense you have is reversed. The future has come to the present. What is to be vision has now become being. What is to be hope has now become knowing. It's now your physical experience. We bounce from the present to the future. And we no longer live a life that is determined by the past. So I don't care what happened to you yesterday, or the day before, or the week before, or the month before, or the year before. I know from practical experience that any life can change overnight, and that any event can happen immediately without respecting the policies of men, without respecting the policies of the world, without respecting what people think is possible. But you must enter the kingdom of heaven with those three keys. And when you do, the time sense is reversed. You no longer live life on the basis of the past, but you live life with the attitude of mind that sees the future as present. And this is the beginning of miracles. This is how the window of heaven becomes open. Talking about opening the windows of heaven. Many people have the conception that the only way this opens is by contributing a little thing of some money or profits they've made, or the income they've had over a period, a little 10% of that to someone or to some cause. And they go just give it to anyone anyway, or give it to a certain institution, or give it to a certain person. And some think it's by parting with physical good that it can cause the spiritual movement of blessedness. But that is not so. The windows of heaven are opened when we pay the tithe in consciousness, which is in fact by operating with the keys of heaven. we start with the desire. What do I want? And then we commit a section of our consciousness to the faithful feeling of that which we feel. And then we accept it as true. And the moment we come to the point of acceptance, it becomes a reality. The windows of heaven become open and things can happen. Things begin to shift. What you call reality or what you know to be so real begins to adjust to the state that you've now assumed to be true and to be real. And not only you, but he, she, they, everyone in your world will see the change that has become inevitable, but they will not see it as a promise of hope. They will see it as your current lifestyle. This is how we open the windows of heaven. And when we do, what happens when we open it through acceptance of the wish fulfilled is that the wish becomes fulfilled. It is no brainer. You wonder sometimes, why don't so many people do this? But it's because they don't know it's a way of life. They don't know it can be practiced, it can be developed, it can be exercised every day. If only you know that you don't have to sleep tonight the way you slept last night, then you do things differently. If only you know that waking up this morning and by the time it's afternoon, things could be different for you, you would not stay in the same mediocre situation. No one would. But not so many people know that. There are a few are quite complacent with how the life is. They enjoy the mediocre experience. They're okay with it. Because they're okay to still complain. They still want to complain. You can't be a successful person and still complain about the lack or the absence of results in your life, right? So they still want to complain. And that's fine. But that doesn't have to be you. That certainly is not me. I would not tolerate nonsense for myself. And I would enjoy you to not do the same thing. In fact, I would ask you to begin to set yourself a high mark, the highest dream of your life. Bring all of them back. You've had them from childhood, you've had them from teenage years, and then you grow up and it seems they slipped away. No, they haven't. They don't have to. You can bring them back today. Because we're not using earthly means to bring about the result of our desires, we're opening the floodgates of heaven. So I want you to take action. And if you hear that and if you think it means wake up and do something, or get in your schedule, or go on your to-do list, then you really must educate yourself about the power of your consciousness. Because to take action is to attune with absorption of the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Many people assume, but not so many people absorb the feeling. And when you do, your imagination is kicked into action. We find a lot of us is in action the moment assumption meets absorption. So take action and take action right now. And this action is acceptance. That's this action. Acceptance. Every day has its own creative moment. Every day has the very time that you can imagine the wish fulfilled. And I'm not talking about some special hours. I'm talking about the day or the moment that the desire seizes you to the point that you would not let it go until you feel the wish fulfilled. If you're still holding something back, if you're still worried about losing what you currently have, or you're still caring about the old state, then you have not entered that creative moment. The creative moment comes When you have intense desire and you suddenly turn it into a fact, this is the beginning of harvest. In May, this is our education. This is what I'm teaching you. This is what we're learning. This is what we're practicing. We're not just talkers. No, we walk the talk. We're doers of what we say. And we bring about that which we have promised ourselves we would do. Because this is no longer a light matter. It's not about a grade and standing before the ovation and receiving lots of applause from lots of people for just one day. This this is about your daily life. My daily life. What happens in it? How I live with myself, how you live with yourself, what happens with your life with your neighbors, with your friends, with your loved ones, whether you're able to say something and it becomes a reality, or you fail in your promises. This is about that. This is about whether you live up to the fullest of being a human, or whether it's a boring experience all the way. And so it's no joking matter. It's a serious cause. It's a serious deal. That's why May is devoted to acceptance. So we can learn to operate the keys in this world that we live, that is the world of imagination. Everything you see now was once only imagined. We learn to operate the keys to open any doors in the kingdom of heaven. And as we open the doors, we usher the windows. And it rains. It rains blessings. Oh no, it's not water. It's not ash. It's not fire. It's none of those things you read in those myths and tales. It is blessings. Showers of blessings. Of results. Of congratulations. Not a one-day ovation that disappears with the passing of time, but constant results that indicate a true transformation of your soul. What would you do? Register now, pay the tuition, let's meet in class to score high without feeling. Score the highest of your desires with not action, not inaction, not policies, not promises, not words, with feeling. With feelings.